I was trying to do the podcast. All right, ready?
Ready.
All right. We Need Answers podcast 44. I think this is episode 44 now. Still moving. So we back to the original episode was The Real Wire with Box, my Uncle Box, Ronald. And he was talking about, coming up around that time. All that. Check that one out. That's a classic episode, one of our most listened to episodes. So part 2, I got my Aunt Jackie in here. Now we get a female perspective of how times was back in the day and paint that picture for Baltimore for you and show you what it is. And like I always say, the whole purpose of this podcast is to point out that Baltimore is not all negative. It's always the good things about Baltimore, the beautiful, the good, the bad, the ugly. So I just shared this from now. Every other episode is recent Baltimore. So this when I do these and I do a couple other episodes, it's just to show you how it was from back in the day. Because from being around back in the day, I used to be with my Aunt Jackie every Saturday. We used to be out rolling deep every Saturday, hitting the town.
Showing them the city.
And be riding around all around everywhere when I was young, real young. So, like, I always had a joy of listening to the stories from everybody, from my father, homeboys, his side, my mother's side, all that, my aunts, uncles, all that, even all the old heads I know. So, we just going to get another perspective on this episode. So, and also, this is the mother of my cousin from the mother's episode. My cousin Tiffany on that, she did that episode. And this is her mother on here. If you know Tiffany, you know Jackie. So, and Ashley and Darrell, you know all my cousins. So, kicking it off, just going to introduce my Aunt Jackie. So, tell her you started out, you was born around what time?
64. 64, buddy.
So, 64, what Baltimore look like? Well, tell us about you, where you come from, where are you come from?
So, in 64, we moved from the projects, Murphy Home, George Street, 725 George Street.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We lived in low rise, you know what I'm saying? And basically, you know what I'm saying? At that point in life, life was good, man. You know, I went to Catholic school, you know what I'm saying? We was dressed in little white dresses and going to get first Holy Communion, none of that. After 4 years old, we moved up to Park Heights, you know, like the Weezy and Jeffersons. We moved on up, so
right.
We got out the projects, went up Park Heights, and moved up there in 1969. And from then, you know, the things I seen in Baltimore was, you know, we had good summer days, man. You know, children came out to play. You know, we played Skelly and all that kind of, we had flowers in our yards and stuff. Man, when I say summertime was summertime, and growing up in our society, we had a lot of people that was on heroin. It was a big heroin episode, and you know what I'm saying, going on, but it was real heroin. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I had a father that was addicted. He stayed in the street hustling, and he was also addicted. Mm-hmm. We was kind of sheltered from him, but I caught on kind of early. You know, my father was smoking weed, you know what I'm saying, and you know, I used to sit there and like wonder why he rolled that. Said weed smell real good. This when weed was weed, before it was laced with all the chemicals. Yeah. And basically, you know what I'm saying, watch my mother as a black woman bring us up, regardless of what my father did. Because, you know, my mother didn't use, my father used. He was out there in the street messing with different women. And my mother, she was Catholic, she raised us Catholic, and she stood by her husband.
And that was rare for a woman.
For a black woman to do that, and you know what I'm saying? And man, this is where I get my strength. At the end of this, you'll know where I get my strength. My courage and everything is from watching that lady. Today is the death. My mother passed 2 years ago today.
Rest in peace, Grammy.
When her funeral was, man, they thought it was somebody said, dang, somebody famous getting, you know, having a funeral.
A million people.
Touched a lot of people. That's just what my family does. And I'm not saying to pat myself on the back, but then again I am, because that's what we are. You know, we come from a strong generation. My grandfather bought a house in Emerson Village when I was a little girl, when it was only whites. It was only whites, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They put the milk on the porch inside the container from Cloverland, you know what I'm saying? Things like that.
Shows.
You can hear birds outside twerking now. You go outside and open the window up in the morning now so you see a bird twerk. The birds in the corner trying to cap.
Right.
But let me tell you something. Baltimore, I went to camp at Fort Meade, man. We went free lunch. You know, on the basin, went swimming and stuff like that. You know, the bus came and picked us up. We had
How many? But you gotta tell how many y'all.
Oh, it was 12 of us.
12
My mother
kids.
had 7 girls and 5 boys.
Right.
And I'm telling you this. I was just talking to one of her best friends. It's like an aunt to me. She never had kids, but her and my mother been friends like sisters. And she just called to check on me. My mother was the type, when she wore nice, you wore nice. We never went without. Let me tell you this, and this is God's having truth. A lot of people say that's bullshit. Growing up from the projects to Park, our gas and electric was never cut off. Phone was never cut off. You know what I'm saying? We ate good and we dressed good. My mother put us to Catholic school in spite of. That's why there's no reason out here in this society today why a black woman can't do her own. I mean, a man, you can't rely on a man to get you through. But let me tell you something. It's some opportunities still here in Baltimore. I get frustrated with Baltimore because I work out in the field. I work for Step by Step in Maryland, so I'm out here doing rehab, trying to get people some help. Mental health was pushed under the rug for a long time. My father suffered from mental health, not knowing that he was abusing my mother because he didn't know how to have a healthy relationship. But let me say this. Things evolve. Everything come back, even the skinny jeans. I see my mother on the pier at up in Atlantic City. The skinny jeans. I said, that's my mama. My granddaughter just seen a picture of my mama and said, Granny looked like Cardi B when she was young. She was just bad. She just did it. So, you know, but growing up here, it wasn't that dangerous. You know, I remember bus fare was 15 cents, man, to get on the bus. We caught 3 buses to get to school. And, you know, wasn't never scared to get on the bus, you know, versus today, you know what I'm saying? We just didn't have to, and people stuck together.
Right.
People help you raise your child, you know what I'm saying? When I had my first child, my mom was at work, her neighbor watched me while, you know what I'm saying, because I was turned 18 when I had my first child. So she kept an eye on me. That's the type of communities we lived in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people always say the city bad. It's not the city. It's not the city. They can't keep blaming on the city. Why do you think everybody want to move back to the city? It's what we allow to happen in our neighborhoods. We have to take our neighborhoods back and stop saying it ain't none of my business because it is your business.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Everything evolved around you in your state of Maryland is your business.
Yeah.
One way or the other, it will affect you. Might not be directly, but indirectly. And then, you know, growing up, we had my sister and I, his mother, got pregnant. We had a baby a week, 6 days apart. My brother and I had a baby the same day, 2 different hospitals, about 11 minutes apart.
Yeah.
At one time. So, you know, my mother had a baby when she was 40, which is my little brother. Everybody in East Baltimore think taught my son. But growing up, I was always around older people trying to get that information.
Right.
My grandfather was, whoo.
That's where you get wisdom from.
My grandfather said, why you never want to marry a man like this? My grandfather was a well-respected man in Virginia back when white people didn't call blacks by mister.
Okay.
And they used to pick peaches and stuff in the groves and stuff. They call him Mr. Selden.
Okay.
If you say my father, distinguished mustache, curled up, you know,
like
I said, who are these people? He is a white man, and his mother was Indian and white mix.
Right.
So, you know, I ain't had no say in, you know, all this pigmentation I got going on up here right now, but I'm going to tell you this. I tell people all the time, my daughter said, you prejudiced. I said, yeah, I am. One thing about it, I'm not going to hide it. They hide that, I'm not going to hide mine. I deal with them people like they deal with me.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying, because first of all, we got to stop slapping the people that came before us in the face.
Yeah. Respect.
If you're able to, first of all, we're going to talk about the vote. If you're able to vote.
Okay.
Because these people did a lot. We need to know about our history, man. I got a picture on my phone of Emerson Avenue in Allendale back in the 60s. Somebody just sent it. It's this guy, he got a webpage of all of Baltimore. Even down when they had Rite Aids down Lexington Street, down on Howard and Lexington. You can look on the wall and see the old pictures of how the train tracks came, the cable cars.
Yeah.
My mother used to take me downtown, shop with her. I knew how to go in a store and shop. You know what I'm saying? And I can't imagine what my mother and them was going through before I was born. The racism, blacks drink out of this water and whites eat out of this water. That's mind blowing. Imagine the day having to go through that.
Was you alive with the when the riots broke out with Martin Luther King?
I was alive, but I was a baby.
Okay.
I was a baby when the riots broke out with Martin Luther King. I was a baby when Kennedy got killed.
Okay.
But these newscasts was in my mind, man. I remember seeing it on the news. I remember this stuff.
Yeah.
I remember the troops had to come in.
Okay. Yeah.
I remember the troops had to come in and shut it down. We was on curfew.
He said that's when a lot of people, like, the time revolved, because he said a lot of people were stealing, and that's how a lot of
looting
people
and all that.
came
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the weather, even to the day, the ozone has changed. We got advanced, and life was supposed to change. Evolution is an evolution. And it's supposed to change, but not always in a negative way. We have lost hope in our society. Yeah. As a nationality, we have lost hope. I see the black men out here. Now, let me start with that first, and it's mind-blowing, like, no hope. They have lost all the hope. I got one cousin that's still using. 67 years old, man. When I tell you I go out here, you never seen addicts on the street when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s hanging out the street like they do now. They ain't do that. You ain't never see all that kind of stuff like that shooting up there. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that. It was on a low.
Private, yeah.
It was on a low. So I didn't know my father shot drugs because he put toothpaste on his arms. So you never could tell to this day that he was an addict for years. You know, and then people say, you Roosevelt doing it. My father was well known in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I could, you know, and my mother was never, she didn't even smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, she ain't do nothing.
So, you know, I learned how to be a strong black woman to survive out these streets no matter how it changed. You know what I'm saying? And I said, one thing for sure, that's not, the saying people say, that's for white people. No, ain't nothing for nobody. It's for whoever go and get it.
Yeah, true. That's a fact.
If you want anything in the society and you willing to go through the necessary change to get it, you can get it. But I'm telling you, they trying to get us shut down more and more. It's like they allow us to get a certain amount, but they want us to keep us isolated into a circle. Yeah. That's why, you know, in the field I work, they keep people on methadone. They don't mind upping your dose on that. Yeah, because they don't mind upping your dose. First of all, they make more money for upping your dose. Yeah. Next of all, they don't want us to have nothing. Right. They want us to stay stagnated. You know, a lot of black people don't even know the traffic light was created from a black person. The most essential things that we use in this world today was created from a black individual. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame sometimes I say, it's a shame that I want to call myself African American today, man. The shame to say what we've been through those days growing up when I was growing up, man. When we can say, yeah, we actually loved each other. And when Martin Luther King and them fought for us to get rights and all the kind of stuff, people going arm to arm across that bridge, man. Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? All this kind of stuff. History. They took history out of our schools. U.S. history. Took black history out of our schools. I'm wrong. Black history. See, they don't want us to know, you know, what we, about our black ancestors. Find that out on their own. Yeah, you got to do the research, but that's up to our parents. I mean, the people as a parent. And let me get this, don't get it twisted. Some parents was never taught to teach their child because they wasn't taught. It's like a domino effect. We got to break these cycles. Right. We got to stop saying, you know, that's what my grandmother did. No, that's not what I had to do because my mother was in a abusive relationship for years. Don't mean that I'm going to do that. Right. And I vowed never to do that. I was one of the person that said I would never use drugs. I end up using. Yeah, I was a dealer at one time. Yeah, with soul bricks. You know what I'm saying? I end up being my own customer. I end up using. And it took me from here to here. I was one of them one day. One of them walk around, a dime plus. You know what I'm saying? I can't say, and I never looked at myself like that. I never used my parents as a way to get what I want in society. I said I never would mess with a nigga that hustle, never would do this, never. A lot of my nevers, 9 out of 10 came true. In the streets, man, it's so hard out here for anybody, man. Mostly for the black man, man. But then I see the black women falling down in the traps with them, man. We didn't have that. We helped each other out back then. I don't know why our society is like this, because the hope, all I can say is the hope is gone. Now, you know, you went to prison, you did time in jail. You did your time, you know what I'm saying? You did a crime, you was with somebody, you take the charge. You look at this, what's going on now. Hey, we out here, they don't want to take the charge. They want to do all the crimes and always stand on the corner. Stand on the corner and have your pants hanging down off your ass. What is that representing? Right. Who's going to learn something from that? They said knowledge was power when I was a child, and I never knew what it meant, man. Yeah. to have knowledge. Knowledge is power to get you where you want to get to the next stage. If you stay stagnant all your life and you around your child, you think your child won't go any further? 9 times out of 10, no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're a product of your environment, as they say. No. And, you know, statistics show you can get up out of it.
For sure. You gotta want to, though.
You gotta want to do things a different way than what you was shown.
Right.
It's gotta be, when you see y'all ain't have no food on the table, and you say, damn, as a child, I'm gonna do this when I get on. I ain't gonna be able to let my mother, I ain't gonna do like my mother do or treat a woman like that. Man, come on.
Yeah.
Most of black men out here don't have respect for black women.
So wait, before we go any further, I want you brought up school. What schools did you go to?
Oh, I went to Catholic school. I went to, from kindergarten, pre-K, all the way up to 8th grade, and then, you know what I'm saying, I started smelling myself. My mom said, you want to go to Catholic school to the 9th to the 12th, or you want to go public? Went to public. 2 months I was put out, all city schools. Right, put out.
But wait a minute, so paint the picture of Catholic school. They
Catholic
used to be
school,
the beach.
no, I'm telling you, man, if they don't bring that paddle back. I see little girls disrespecting the Catholic skirt on the bus. I said, man, what they doing? You come up in that school if you want to. You go in that office, the paddle was this thick, this long, and had a handle.
And they really would beat you.
With the skirt. And some of them lift it up and hit you with it.
Mm-hmm.
They did not play in the discipline, and 9 times out of 10, you learned your lesson.
Right.
Growing up in that environment, when my mother couldn't pay tuition, they had a tuition assistance.
Okay.
But they gave her money to keep us in that school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My mother didn't have a lot of money buys for cool. Them priests and you know what I'm saying, the Catholic churches gave my mother, you know what I'm saying, things like that. She believed in her faith. You know what I'm saying? Believed in her faith. And said my mother died as a Catholic. I stopped going as an adult, but my mother died as a Catholic. She loved the priests, they loved her. You know what I'm saying? They say about the priests, right, raping the little boys and all that. I don't think they touched on my little brother or my big brother. So, that's a whole nother topic. But growing up in that, then I decided to go to public school, and I went to graduate from Emerson High School, business education.
Okay.
My mother didn't have a lot of education. Mm-hmm. My mother, about 8th grade education, so was my father around that time. They didn't go to school all the way through because she started having kids. I didn't have that motivation. Yeah, it's from Sandtown. Mm-hmm. I didn't have that motivation to go to college. Had I had it, I wish, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when my daughter wanted to get to college, you know what I'm saying? My first one wanted to go to college. It was on. Right. I was like, to God be the glory. I'm glad I was around to able to be a part of that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then we went down to Norfolk State University. Mm-hmm. And you know, in advance, you had to pay for room and board. But these schools at that time, I didn't know nothing about college. They overbooked the rooms, so students was getting turned away. Come back in a month, we don't have enough rooms. I was over one, I was over housing, and she was over in some other department. I said, you stand there now and saying, they said, somebody on the news over there, she says, probably my mom. It was me. But they told me they didn't have a room for my daughter. And I said,
they know you was going off, boy.
I'm not taking her back to Baltimore. She gonna start on time. If you gotta put up in a hotel, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people got this, you know what I'm saying? That's how they do us. They think they can tell us anything, you know what I'm saying? And I said, no.
Yeah.
She did everything you said to do on time. You're gonna take my daughter, and she came out of school and she graduated. I said, to God be the glory. My kids came out of college, man. Mm-hmm. Nobody that I know of, like my aunts and none of them, man, none of them went to school like that. None of them, they didn't go to school back when they was having kids, man. They didn't finish school. Actually, my mother was a teacher when I was a little girl.
I ain't even
she taught the school down off George Street. I think she was a teacher's aide, but I don't know how far that went. But I can remember her teaching in school, and I didn't know until I was a little older that she taught in the school. But coming around, you know what I'm saying, and having a child getting pregnant at 17, man, and living back in 1982 when I had my first daughter, man, you know, I wasn't real grown, but I was real aggressive and dominant. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like I could be with any type of man. He has to be more dominant. And I'm gonna let a man do his job and play his part, but if you don't,
you don't respect it. Yeah.
I'm gonna run over top of you. Yeah. It's this in me. My father always said my mouth would get me in a lot of trouble. And you know what I'm saying? I used to fight growing up. I had to fight. Mm-hmm. I was light skinned, and I had to fight.
Right.
I never started fights, but I ended a lot of them.
But everybody know you throw hands.
Yeah, you say Lexington Terrace. I used to go down Lexington Terrace. You know what I'm saying? I had my blade strapped to my leg. You know what I'm saying? And I had a little derringer. And my little sister used to get scared. Said, please don't do it. I said, hold this. It's got to be done.
Right.
That's how you had to do it, and it was over with. Today, you have a fight out here today, and you better believe your whole house can get blown up and all that. It's just unnecessary, man, to have a disagreement. Today, actually, in that aspect, I can walk away from people, and I said, to God be the glory. It was never, you know that for a fact. It was never the easy for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I had to laugh. I try to teach my youngest, my middle daughter, Ashley, it's easy in the end of the day, and her Darrell, walk away. Because you couldn't say shoulda, coulda, woulda. Because I ended up in a jail cell many times saying I should have took my hands on the people. But you know what I'm saying? And created me a long record. Then when I wanted to get my life together, I had a long record.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop me.
Nope.
I didn't, and I tell the people all day, it didn't stop me. I got in the medical field with this.
Yeah.
Then I went to school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My mother always said, Jackie, she said, I'm so proud of, you know what I'm saying? I'm so proud of where we come from. And history, I love history. If nobody else do nothing, look at our history, man. Look at pictures of Baltimore, how it used to be. We can clean up our city, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
back
saying?
How it used to be.
Don't nobody want no nigga outside on the corner trying to, you ain't even throwing bricks in the penitentiary. That's not even, that's called no more.
Yeah.
You out there trying to pay for your bag you smoking.
Right.
So what it is they want us to stay there. They don't want our strong little young black men to get off them corners. They want us to stay there and stay stagnated and die. The average black man is dying before they turn 20 years old today. That's sad.
Yeah, big time.
Who would have thought back in the 80s and all that kind of stuff, when disco was out and all that kind of stuff, today that we'd be looking at a man in office just acting up as president representing the United States like this?
Nobody. Nobody.
Who would have ever thought that we had a black president? My grandfather didn't live to see this. He was born in 1908. And I think about all the stuff they seen growing up and versus the opportunity that we have out here today versus when I was out there. You know what I'm saying? But when I became my first child, I actually got too grown when my father and I bumped heads and I had to leave his house. Because, you know what I'm saying, I guess he's saying one boss up in here, I had to leave and move my grandmother in the Emerson Village. Right. That's where my journey began, in the streets.
Mount Holly Street.
You know what I'm saying? I met somebody that introduced me to sniffing heroin. I started sniffing heroin. I started liking the heroin. You know what I'm saying? But of course, the heroin didn't like me. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I thought I could still hustle. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want a nigga to hustle. I just wanted to hustle myself. You know what I'm saying? And did it, I thought I was doing it eloquently. But, one thing about that'll come out real fast.
Okay.
You can't hide something like that. You can't hide. If you using, you can't hide it. Okay. It's going to come out. Okay. Ain't no such thing as a functional addict.
Right.
Yeah. You taking from something to supply that habit. So, what I did was, I think it disappointed my mother so bad, and I think it took my father deeper down in a hole because he said it was a product. I'm being a product of what he represented. You know what I'm saying?
He feel like he started.
He started out. I used to run into my father in the street sometimes.
Oh, okay.
His daddy take a couple dollars. You know what I'm saying? And to see my father like that, the one that I looked up to. See, I was underneath my father. Me and my father was tight. You know what I'm saying? And I never would thought that my mother would die before my father did, considering the lifestyle he lived.
Right. He was more reckless.
Yeah,
that was my next question. Who did you look up to back in the day?
I looked up to my mother, but my father, I got the strength from both of them. I try to balance out what I could get from each one of them, and it just, both of them together made me who I am.
Okay.
But I got most of my strength and guidance, and I got my loyalty from my mother.
Okay.
And her father. Norman Selden. It's who taught me and my mother about loyalty. My grandfather said, if you looking down on a nigga on the ground, you better be helping to pick him up off there. Right. You don't look down on somebody. In this world, if nothing else, you reap what you sow. So whichever you do to somebody else, it's going to come back to you. Yeah. So in the streets, when I was out there, I'm trying to tell you, people know I hung by myself in the streets and I did my things by myself. You know what I'm saying? In the British prison, I did time, done with. That's what I did. That ain't who I am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
It's in the past.
Everybody got one. Everybody's different.
Right.
No two are alike. But it's what I did. But from my experiences, I have learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, I learned how to survive in the society we live in. However it may change, I learned to adapt and, you know what I'm saying, ride with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be what they are just because that's what they doing, you know. No, I've never been that follower.
Yeah.
I just been curious and want to try out different things, would let me down the road to a lot of stuff that I've never doing, man, in the streets, man. I can remember staying up 7 days in a row getting high. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Never thought that my mother was home wearing her ass off about me, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The last time she came to me in the streets, when I was in the streets, I said, baby, I'm coming. I'm done. Let me get this out of my system. I'm not going to die out in the street, and I promised her that. And I said, thank God you brought me through to let her see that.
Yeah.
So my sisters and them would always, none of them really went through the struggles I went through, and my brother did. My brother Chuck did. But my brother Man didn't. You know what I'm saying? Man didn't. Todd did. They didn't go through the struggles I went through in the streets. None of them was in the streets. It was me. I was like the black, what they call the black sheep of the family.
Oh, yeah.
But no matter what I did, I always made sure my mother, you know what I'm saying, knew I loved her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I try to make sure my kids, I didn't expose kids to this. It's one thing I didn't.
Right.
See, I was one of them bougie addicts where, you know, you got kids and I ain't coming there and get high. I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'll get outside first.
Right.
I ain't just ain't gonna do that.
Right.
Because I didn't do it to my kids.
Yeah.
That's one thing I always kept that, man. I never would do that. I ain't doing it under no circumstances. Ain't gonna do that because I feel like my father wouldn't have had that shit in the house. Maybe I wouldn't have been so curious about it.
Right. True.
So I'm not gonna do that to another child. I can't say Mr. Reed I used because my father. No, I can't say. I'm not gonna blame that on him.
Right.
It was a choice.
Yeah.
We have choices. I made mine.
Right.
When my mother said, you know what I'm saying, don't do that, I chose no. Curiosity, no, I'm gonna do it. That's why today, when you tell your child don't do something, you explain to them why. Not that you, I don't owe them that explanation. You do. Because, see, one thing about it, they have their own thoughts and their own opinions.
Yeah.
And their own curiosity. You say, I don't want you to do that because this might would happen.
And that goes along with breaking them cycles that you were just talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
People don't think back in the day, they ain't think that they had to,
No,
but that's
man.
a necessity now.
Yeah, man, you know, they had cheese
Who else you want to
lines.
get that answer from?
Huh?
Who else would you want them to get the answer from but your parent?
As a parent, man, we got to set example. Not only, now let me say this while you know, to people. As a black woman, we cannot afford to show our black daughters or our black sons how let a man mistreat you. Or just bring anybody to your house and say you got somebody laying next to you. No, sir. You know how many pedophiles, how many children have been molested because of things like that? Yeah. That's another thing. Growing up, you didn't hear about all that molestation going up, and a lot of people lost their minds behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I had a cousin that left here when she was 17 years old because she was on drugs, and she had me around her like I was her daughter. I remember at 4 years old, she used to comb my hair and take me up on up the street in front of the corner store, and I think that's where she was copping from.
Mm-hmm.
The Goodhumor trucks used to open the doors on the side. Mm-hmm. You open and get your ice cream out. And the bubblegum machine used to be outside. I remember all that type of stuff. Put a bubblegum machine outside now if you want to.
It's gone. It's gone.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody want the easy way out, and everybody want to play victim. We're not victims.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We are what we want to be. We got to stop playing the victim. Back then, man, people worked hard, man. Well, we got food stamps, and, you know, I got a picture of a food stamp, too. The 50-cent food stamps that I used to take out of my mother's drawer. You know what I'm saying? Behavior start young. Behavior start young.
It was the movie theater up the village when you was up there, son?
Yeah, no, let me tell you about the movie, Uptown movie, Park Heights first.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Park Heights. You get a Super Sunday ticket for 50-cent ride all day. You would go downtown by the Super Center and go to the arcade where you smoke your first cigarette after you was cool. Or you go up the movie and get a hot dog for a quarter or 15 cents. You go in the movie for 50 cents. Uptown movie.
Okay.
And Cinderella Shoes was right up the street from it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, Uptown movie. Or you go down, you know what I'm saying? A Hippodrome movie and stuff like that. Man, on Sunday, we get a Super Sunday and ride all day long.
Just be out.
You never had to worry about, you know, Amber Alerts and all that. They didn't have none of that stuff out there. And not to say children would always been taken, but how that changed, you got human trafficking out here.
Right.
People take these little young girls out here walking around like they, you know, want to be a woman. These niggas will take you and stuff your body with chemicals and send you over, ship you overseas. I witnessed a lot of this stuff in the streets, man. Things that I never would thought as a woman that I would know and see, man. how things have changed for women. I say, man, we got to know how to stay in our lane. But, and let a man be a man and stop taking that position away from them because that knocks a man down. So we complain about how men don't want to stand up and be men. But like a woman dressed up like me, it's hard. Because I put them down in a minute.
Right.
But I would also build them up.
Okay.
But I ain't going to settle for nothing less.
Right.
You're going to be the man you're supposed to be or you're not going to be nothing to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that was what my father showed me, a strong man. No matter what he did, my father always kept a good job. And he was, you know what I'm saying? He was in jail.
Wolves.
Yeah, he was in jail. You know what I'm saying? He did his shit in the streets.
Yeah. He told me one time that he was going by another name for a couple years.
Oh, no. I said
he said he had a whole nother idea and all that. It was a whole nother name.
My mother died from the symptoms of asbestos since she brought that up. So I said, it kept gnawing on me. I said, look, these are symptoms, while working in the medical. I said, this seems like asbestos. So I finally called the lawyer. And when I looked up her death certificate, I said, this, my father has it. So I called him. I said, lung nets and all. I said, my father worked at Bethlehem Steel in Maryland Drive. Like he was a ship fitter. Always made good money. That's one thing about it. Always made good money. And sometimes he just didn't bring home. I remember a little girl knocking on doors on Pennsylvania Avenue. My mother would drive down there and knock on that door. And I was a little girl.
Looking for him?
Looking for him to get that money. And I would say, my father in there, you know what I'm saying? I can't get a vision out of my head. My mama had a white Cougar with a light blue top. I would never get that vision out of my head the first time she did it. Down Pennsylvania Avenue by Lawn Street, man. But look, it's, what was we talking about?
You was talking about Bethlehem Steel.
Bethlehem Steel. When my mother found out, she didn't want to get tested. I said, I think you should get tested because Daddy came up positive for it. And then you wash her clothes together, you can contract it like that. She got it. They took the case and everything, but
this was asbestos?
Yeah, asbestos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she died. That's basically what killed her.
Oh, I ain't know that.
That's what I'm putting together because, but cancer runs in our family. We have a lot of cancer. Breast cancer. Our daddy had, my grandfather had prostate cancer at one time. They kept that on the low. I never knew it. I lived in that man's house.
I ain't know that either.
Yeah, he had prostate cancer before. Our grandfather died when he was 97 years old.
That was a blessing, though.
But imagine what he had seen.
Yeah, everything.
From 1908.
Everything.
Imagine what he was seeing in society. Then my grandfather never had a car. He worked for Mayflower Moving Company. He rode the bus, the Lexington Market. My grandfather never worked. My grandmother didn't work a day in her life. He married her when she was 14. My grandmother's parents were wealthy. They had maids and everything, but they told my grandfather he wasn't worthy of her, and she married him. They cut her off, and they did that. My grandmother's father owned his businesses downtown. Yeah, they had actual maids in their house and everything.
Okay.
So he married him. Her mother died. He married another woman and adopted her daughter and left everything to her when he died. But my grandmother ain't never won for nothing.
Right.
My grandfather was a genius. He ain't went for nothing. But he went to the supermarket. How many men you know out here do that? How many you think gonna do that?
Ain't not
He
too
went to
many
the
doing
supermarket. Everything all she had to do was go to a hairdresser. You know what I'm saying? That's all she had to do.
Yeah.
They lived a life. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, my mother told me she was afraid. She lived on Fulton Avenue, and they used to leave her. My grandmama used to go out to the bar and stuff. Leave her in the house. She 8 years old, and she lived where the train tracks on Fulton Avenue underneath. She said, but she would hear the house shaking from the track, so she was afraid. I always wondered why my mother was afraid to be home by herself.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason why. See, that time I spent with her the last couple weeks, 2 weeks she was alive, I learned all that stuff about her.
Oh, wow. I ain't know that. That's tight.
I said, why are you so scared of everything, man?
She said
She
that.
told me, she said, Jack, I used to hide under the porch till somebody came home. My mother would let the oldest ones watch me, but they used to leave me in there. I always wanted to see, now I had to ask a question to get an answer.
They gave you that wisdom. So who was your friends growing up?
Oh, I had it was 3 of us, the 3 amigos, me, Sherelle, Tyner, and Jackie Penn.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 3 of us growing up, Eventually, I broke off from them because I feel like, females was just hate. I couldn't trust them. They crossed me, that was it. We're still friends to this day.
Right, okay.
But a lot of friends that we grew up around are dead.
Right.
As a result of using drugs. And all of us had experiences with that. You know what I'm saying? And man, I just tell you that a lot of people have left as a result of these drugs, and they just pouring them in our society even more now.
Right.
This what we got out here in drugs, man. It's chemicals.
Yeah.
You can't tell nobody they smoking loud weed and all that. You know this shit is laced with a chemical anytime it stay on your clothes for a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's not marijuana, man.
Yeah.
After they treat it, that's a wrap.
Right.
And it's what it is the chemicals are getting so addictive that they out here looking for like heroin.
Right.
And it amazes me now because, you know, you can smoke a joint back when I was smoking weed in the 80s, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can smoke a joint, man. You had a nickel bag of weed, man. Bag of weed, you know what I'm saying? And a coin envelope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get some whiteboard papers and topboard paper, man. And you had that, man, for a couple of days.
Yeah, it's different now.
That's one thing. It's different now, man. You know, it's different now. You can smoke weed and get seeds in it pop on your shirt. That's how my mother found out I was smoking weed. I used to take her blouses and wear her sharp blouses. I said, I want to go kick, you know what I'm saying? And she said, you just put that, no, I'm not lying. And then I said, I ain't do it. Let me tell you about how behaviors in the household will start your journey in life.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that, I know a lot of girls and mothers that had different men in their house all the time around them, and that's how they live.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, we have to teach our generations differently that we deserve more in the society and that we can do more in the society. And that's why they say, oh, support black-owned businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't support some people that, you know what I'm saying. First of all, everybody ain't supposed to be in business.
True. You gotta support good business. They can be black, but they gotta be good business.
Good businesses.
Good business.
You know what I'm saying?
Respectable business.
And you gotta run your business like the company I work for is black-owned and operated.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the people that work in there, you know what I'm saying, too laid back because it's black-owned and operated. You don't give 100% like you would for that white man.
Yeah. That's true. You're gonna be a different way with a white person. Yeah.
It's gonna be straight across the board.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I say, you know, we gotta stop doing this to each other.
Yeah.
We do this to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't bringing up the value with black businesses being like
Man,
that.
come on now. The girl told me, I told you, you don't need this card, baby. I ain't gotta eat here.
So look, my next question, you shared a little bit about it, and you can share as much as you want about your journey with using and all that. So me as a witness, as your nephew, I witnessed when you was going through it, but I always said to anybody, when you was done, you was done. And I always saluted that. Because when you did, when like I said, when I was hanging with you back then, when you would never know none of that stuff unless you told somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If they looked at you. So my question for you is, how did you get to a point where you was done, and what did you do to just like wash your hands with all that?
Well, you know, as I told you, evidence was there. My father did it. He stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I had a brother. You know, tell you something with story that I've always known I was better than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always said that's what I did. That ain't who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I always believed in Lord Jesus Christ. So that's what got me through. When it got me to the point where I said I was done, when I was broken, where I couldn't, you know what I'm saying, when it broke me so bad, spiritually it broke me.
Okay.
When you spiritually bankrupt, let me tell you the first time in '98 when I saw my daughter Tiffany come see me in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And she couldn't talk because she was so emotionally, just to see her mother behind that plexiglass, and I said, what's wrong? She couldn't talk, and I said, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. Because, see, regardless of what I did, I love my kids, and I love my family. You know how I've always been about my family. You were sheltered. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why I took you in a city like that. Because I knew once you got of age and went to the city to tour the fur off your ass, if I didn't expose you to some of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your father always thanked me for that.
Mm-hmm.
He always thanked me for that. Your mother took you away from me, wouldn't let me do it. But I always was like that about all my nephews. And I always try to tell them what's really going on out in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't halfway do it. You can't expose you to some of the world and not all of it.
Right.
You got to tell you what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you, I just say, don't tell me it's raining and you pissing on me.
Yeah.
I look at you and I say, damn, I said, thank you, you know what I'm saying, I did what I did because he gave you an open out, you got to see the city, and you wanted more and more, you was upset when your mother told you you can't go to the city no more. But I knew who she was, I knew how, it would calm my nerves if I didn't take you because she was afraid of that. But she knew I don't doubt for any moment she knew that I would take care of you and have you safe.
Of course.
You know, but for me to get to the point I got in my life where I was sick and tired of being who I was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something about drug addiction. Drug addiction is more than a drug. The drug is a symptom of it.
Mm-hmm.
What I was sedating with that drug is the real issue.
Okay.
So the things that happened to me, I was touched as a child by somebody I trusted, inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that, and I stuffed it down. I thought it was a dream for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I knew it was real, when it came to a certain, when that person had to apologize because they got ordained.
Okay.
And I knew it was real, and that what they did was I stuffed for years to see my mother go through that and know how I love my father and my mother, to see that environment like that, you know what I'm saying, the fighting and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff, you know, you had nobody to talk to about it. I stopped. Mm-hmm. So when shit came to the surface, you get the fuck and say, fuck it. Yeah. I want something to make me feel better than I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
So every
the
time,
pain.
Master pain, you self-medicate. Mm-hmm. So once you self-medicate, and that's, when it's way off, you do it again. That's how you become addicted.
Okay.
Every time it gets to the surface.
You want it to go away again, so you
exactly.
Do it
so you and then you find yourself, you know what I'm saying? We did it for recreation at one time. You know, sipping coke was back in the day. I used to go to Odell's, you know what I'm saying, wear little fur coats and all that on Thursdays and all that kind of stuff. And you know, you sniffing coke was a thing. You know what I'm saying?
That was like how weed is now.
Right, right. You know what I'm saying? But it was like it was then, you know, they talking about the fish scales and all that, you know what I'm saying? You was the thing, you had the fish scale. But now, right now, you know what I'm saying, they can fish in the scale any way they want to. I don't want no parts of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You could give me a photo of this shit to make money. I wouldn't sell it to my society.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We kill our own society with them chemicals. I didn't know all this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My father was exposed to it as a young boy. Mm-hmm. I had to think outside the box to look like all he knows is what he knows.
Right.
He has to be taught something different. I had to teach myself that I was better than I was.
Okay.
And then I started to believe in myself again. Mm-hmm. And I said, damn, you know, when I'm done, I'm done. I know when I put my mind to something, I'm done, I'm done. Mm-hmm. But when you don't deal with things, the core things, I always say cut it off at the root. Kill it.
Yeah, you got to deal with it.
You got to kill it at the root.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Not just a piece of it.
No, because it'll grow again. Yeah. It'll keep growing and growing and growing. And that's what happens to me after 17 years being clean.
Okay.
It grew again. And everybody asked me why. I said, and I really realized I lost my little sister, my baby sister.
Tyra.
2006, August 28th. They found the body on the 30th, but I know she died on the August 28th because I felt it. Everybody always thought that was my daughter. My little sister, I can still hear her calling my name, man. They found my little sister's body, and I screamed, and I never felt nothing like it in my life. I never want to feel like it again. Mm-hmm. I have heard people explain and express how they... This was the time when Lieutenant Ham stepped doing, and all them got killed. When all them girls being raped and all them, you know, out there prostituting and using drugs. I don't care if you was homeless out there doing whatever you're doing. You don't deserve to die and be buried under pile of mulch and left and pushed under the rug like it's nothing. Undetermined murders in Maryland.
It's a life.
In Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? And they use her face as the front screen for all that when they say undetermined deaths because of election coming up. Election. Stop voting on Democrats.
Yeah, vote for
just
right.
vote for people in their causes, not for the color of their skin or the party they in, man. For real. I mean, we got to stop doing that, man, because it ain't got us nowhere.
Right.
It ain't got us nowhere, man, but we're coming up in an environment where all you knew was... pain, man. Mm-hmm. I didn't have no guys. I didn't have a mother that could hug me and say, I love you. Mm-hmm. I didn't have that type of mother.
We talked about that on here before.
I didn't have that kind of mother, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know my mother, you know what I'm saying? The yelling bar was my daughter, so I tried not to yell around her because it would affect my mother's household.
Yeah.
My mother would holler and throw something at you in a minute when she was on the phone. She's talking that phone. I tell you, our phone was never cut off. Right. You know what I'm saying? But the effects of that kind of stuff, how it traumatized you. You know, we never think that it would. You know what I'm saying? My grandkids, why are you howling? You know, so...
Let me ask you, I'm going to cut you off. Let me ask you a question, because I'm glad you said that. So because we talked about this on the show before, do you feel like because that affection wasn't shown from your parents like that, was it hard to show, and you can speak for your siblings too if you feel, that it was hard for y'all to show affection to y'all kids because of that?
Yeah, it affected us.
Yeah.
Like this 100%.
Because we feel that way too.
Yeah, and I just, I think I always thought I was different. Mm-hmm. Always thought I was different. I thought I was more outgoing and more real with reality than my siblings was.
Yeah.
I just always did. You know what I mean? Chucky was real tight growing up. I used to follow him around, even karate school and all that. But I always, when it came to my sisters and all, you know what I'm saying?
Different.
I just thought I was different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just knew that I accepted reality. I think they was like not in reality. Like they didn't really accept. They want the world. They imagined the world was something, but it wasn't.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, even to this day, you know what I'm saying? I would say your mother, you know what I'm saying?
We know. I already know.
Let me tell you something about my sister, though.
Yeah.
My sister she wasn't from in the streets or none of that. But when I was in them streets, guess who came looking for me in the streets? My sister.
Okay.
That's the one that came in the streets looking for me.
That's why you put up with her a lot.
I love my sister. No matter who she is, I accept it.
Yeah.
Serenity prayer tells you that. You know what I'm saying? Accept the thing. God give me the serenity, accept the things I cannot change, which is other people.
Yeah.
So we got to stop trying to change people to what we want them to be.
I like that.
And you know what? And let them be who they was and accept it. Either accept them and be with them and be and deal with them as they are, or move on.
Right.
Because you're gonna make your life more complicated. Acceptance is the key to everything.
Yeah. True.
It's the key to everything, man.
That's a fact.
God grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can. Like, do something about the situation if you can.
Yeah.
And the wisdom to know the difference when you got to back up and jack up and say, I can't do nothing with this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's real.
Let me accept it.
That's real.
My life is a lot smoother than, you know what I'm saying, battling back with my daughter, Ashley, we go toe to toe. She ain't gonna say, nah, I'm sorry we keep bumping heads. But at the end of the day, I will never give up on her.
Right.
Nobody gave up on me. I love my kids, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The journey I went on, I'm glad to be alive in today, and I'm supposed to be here. I ain't say I'm supposed to be dead because I ain't dead.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't claim something God ain't have planned.
Yeah, that's real.
For me, you know what I'm saying?
I'm
People
glad
say,
that.
I should have been dead. No, you should not. You
shouldn't.
right where you belong for a reason.
Yeah.
Whatever his reason for using me in this situation out here in the field, I keep wanting to run from the field I'm in, but I ran from it 20-something years ago and said I wanted to go into the drug addiction field. You know what I'm saying? And I ran from it and went into the medical field, ended up doing that. But I'm back where I need to be at. You know, showing up and letting people know every day is another day. The day is all we got.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I share about the 17 years I gave back to let them know that ain't nothing.
Right.
This here for life.
Right.
That disease want my life, but it can't have it. Don't belong to them.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? That's what you did. Leave it there. Stop saying, I'm a victim. I was an addict. Blah 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 blah. Keep it moving.
Right. It's over with. Let it be.
That's what you did. Let it be just that, your past.
Right.
Something you can't change, but you can make a difference right now with the day. Let's live inside this day.
Right.
See what we can do in this society to make our streets safer.
Right.
See what we do in society to make your grandchildren smile at you. I just want to wake up and see my grandkids at the day. You already know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want a nigga watching mine.
Yeah.
I don't care if she travel all over the world. You know what I'm saying? Leave my grandkids where I can see them. Because I know what people would do to children out in these streets, man.
Right.
People you think to trust, like I said, I was violated as a child.
Yeah, so you don't play about that.
My mother didn't let us spend the night over nobody's house, and that's just my grandmother's house.
Okay.
And I used to have resentments towards her for that, but she explained that to me too.
Yeah.
She said, and I said, I told her before I said, I want to thank you for some things I had resentments for. You wouldn't let me have sleepovers with the girls having pajama parties. She said, yeah, I said, I get it. You ain't got to say no more because I know now. I said, thank you for being who you is. See, that's what I'm saying about how the woman she was.
Yeah.
We didn't see it back then. Some people, they let anybody. Then their mother had a boyfriend over. You don't know.
Right.
That's why a lot of people was molested. And their life screwed up now because, you know what I'm saying, they couldn't tell nobody.
Being careless.
And then they tell their mama and the mother won't believe them.
Right.
Imagine somebody coming to me, one of my daughters telling me a man touched them inappropriate and me not. What the?
I know it's all she wrote after that.
Man, but you know, one person, another person was good, you know, say good dude in the streets was out in the streets with your father.
Okay.
Them type of dudes was out there when your father was out, man. Let me tell you something. A nigga can't say nothing bad about him in the street to this day. You talking about a good dude. We used to come up. I said, boy, let me get them shoes. Let me pawn them shoes. I get a couple of dollars. This nigga stayed fly. He did right by people. You know what I'm saying? Everybody out there wasn't out there. You know what I'm saying? He did what he did. But he only knew what he knew because what his father showed him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was a product of his environment.
Right.
But he didn't let it change his inner core.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's still a good person. Always been a good person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He just survived like he knew how to survive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We all try to survive. Like, we know we got to learn new behaviors.
Right.
Behaviors are learned.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And unlearned.
Right. Yep.
And unlearned.
Yep.
So I got to learn how to, stay in my lane. You know what I'm saying? So I try to learn it. So when people say it, man, I don't take it so offensively.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I let, I had to back up.
That's just a habit.
My whole lifestyle of living has something to do with why I'm here today. Why I'm here today is because God, grace and His mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Only through His grace and mercy. I don't want nobody to get that. Whoever you believe in, I don't care if your faith is believing in a rock.
Yeah.
You gotta have faith in something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to stay in the day, man. You got a plan. Yeah, you got a plan, but ain't nothing that girl. Look what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't change our minds out here about how we respond to this stuff,
Same results.
we're gonna keep getting the same thing, man.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about your time in prison. Where was you locked up at?
Down the women's cut, almost city jail. I went over. I got locked up one time, man. I was over there slinging heroin like I was in the streets. I was getting it through the court clothes, through the when they was in the wax paper bags. Bob know what I'm talking about. So I get somebody to open up the whole rim of the pants, put it in there, and then put it in the cuffs. And I was getting in court clothes every day. So they said, we're going to get you. The guard said, we're going to get you. They never did, but you know what I'm saying? Entourage. Chucky said he used to hear about this stuff. On the street, I heard about y'all. I said, boy, at that time, I never bragged about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just that people did that for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Streets always talk anyway.
And when you're in prison, you keep your mind in prison.
Yeah.
You do your time here, not in the street, because you're going to make it hard on yourself.
How much time you did in it?
Well, the first time I did 18 months on 3. But then I did 2 years. I did that to the door because I told my I went to parole. The 3 years I didn't want the parole. They forced me to take parole. I got checked back in. The halfway out, Tyra was up the halfway out. She crying. I said, girl, I'll be up town about 2 months. I just want to do mandatory because I didn't want to report to nobody.
Yeah.
I went to these people like twice. And then, and then the last time I went to jail was Baltimore County.
Okay.
Judge Weissman, I'll never forget her name. This was 1997. She said, DCD, she said, women's detention. I said, okay, all right, I'm coming uptown. She gave me 18 months. She said, oh, no. Wait a minute, we're going to recall, wait a minute. No, BCDC. I said, who? That's Baltimore County Detention Center. Do you know if you could see how that prison looked inside, man? That'll depress anybody. You make you want to kill yourself in there, how depressing it was. Hey, Baltimore, the women down. It was old.
Okay.
It was old, but it was gloomy.
Mm-hmm.
First time I come out, they gave me 18 months. I waited to press my bone when I got back, man. Everybody in prison know not to never come around my bone. Don't bring the noise away when I'm asleep. I have rules up there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the first time I said in 1997, when I got locked up, when I was giving out the mail, and the girl said, got some dope coming in the mail, Jack, and you look out for me when you go. I said, she said, I got you. I said, no, I don't get high no more.
Right.
And that sounded like fucking fun to me. Like, I don't get
Right.
high no more. I understand. But I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. My hustle in prison was selling cigarettes then.
Okay.
$5 a pop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I go outside to the courthouse. You don't work, at least you go outside. Bring in 5-pack of cigarettes. You just squat. You go, officer, ain't all that. Man, we're going upstairs with these. But the thing is, the last time, like I said, this when Tiffany came to visit me, and I said I was done.
Okay.
At the Tony Beanie came on, her father was doing 17 years in prison straight. You know what I'm saying?
That was for the bank robberies.
Yeah, bank robbery. See, I didn't even know what was going on when he robbed the bank. I was 17. First time going to Towson Town Mall shopping.
Okay.
I remember my mother took us downtown to House to Hochulcone, Brad Gutmans and Hustlers and Stewarts and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he took me to Towson Town Mall. But I'll tell you some real shit. Like on TV, opened the trunk up, had bags of money just like on the bank robbers on TV. I was like, no. I ain't never, man. You talking about we was smoking joints this big and snip go. I was like, shit, man. I was breaking my curfew, you know what I'm saying, at Rising House, and she was lying for me. I was standing out Columbia with him, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A man would have to have something more than the average man in order to be in our company.
Okay.
They always knew, and my girlfriends knew, nigga was certain status, to be in my company.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You ain't going for anything.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I met Mook, all they said, Jack, nigga ain't got no money. Like, girl, I can groom him. I can do something with it. Me and my thoughts, I'm thinking I can make this man, you know, send something else. We still good friends right now. It's the only man I was actually going to go to the altar and marry. You know, but You know, we had this certain kind of relationship. I think we related to each other because of the street.
Okay.
He went to prison, you know, a lot of his life, and you know what I'm saying. He was in the street. He never used, but his mother did, and it was just a dysfunctional life.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to tell the truth about it, my life was dysfunctional,
Mm-hmm.
but my mother tried to keep it as functional as possible.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't have a house full of rats and roaches running around, and you know, we didn't eat ooze and news and all that. I'm not saying that to say we better than them, but I'm just saying the quality of life my mother gave us,
Mm-hmm.
what she had. She used her brain, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We ate good, we wore nice clothes,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? We ain't shopped down a month only for underwear sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. I had tipped my hat off to her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Man, I said, that's why I said I could never mistreat her. Her girlfriend just called me and said, your mother always said she could rely on you to be there for her. And I said, without a doubt, because I remember as a little watching her sacrifice to give us the better things. Right. You know what I'm saying? Christmas came, whole floor, because I tell you, it was a lot of us.
Yeah.
Whole floor filled with toys.
Right.
You know, we said an angel hair on the tree, you know what I'm saying? We had a real tree, and, you know, Christmas and stuff was something to be celebrated. You got Christmas now, damn kids don't even come out playing the playgrounds no more. No, we used 10-speed bike and all that. You know, ball burning up 5 skates and
no physical stuff. All
nothing.
Games and iPads.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But this stuff has been created to make money, but not only create money to keep you where they want to keep you. Mm-hmm. That's a part of the plan too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you can give your son or daughter a device
and keep them out the way.
And keep them out your way.
Yeah, you're right.
And keep them out your way. And they get mad, man. I got an 18-year-old son. He stayed up all night playing the game, man. I say, I bought this damn game for you. I'm so mad at myself.
Right.
And he was so good with it, man. He bought me a new system. But you know, he was raised in New York with his dad. You know what I'm saying? His father was, man, why you buying that shit? He got one up here now. And I didn't get the cord fixed to it, whatever. But I'm just saying, we have to teach, even when it's not. You see, people grew up when they wasn't even your child. You seen them doing wrong, you corrected them.
Right.
We have to stop saying it's not our business.
Yeah.
Our future is our business.
Yeah, you're
And if we don't get involved in our business,
it's going to crash.
They talking about don't be snitching, and that shit don't ride no more. That snitching shit. Who out here ain't snitching? Who the fuck ain't snitching? Motherfuckers out here telling like my genie guy police ain't got to offer nothing. Don't see they bring the cups out like this. I can tell you some information. I'm like, what the? Man, these niggas out here, they say you lucky you're female. I'm saying go toe to toe with these niggas out here. I'm like a couple years back, toe to toe with these niggas as they jumps out here, man. They didn't have nobody teach them to be a real man, man. I'm trying to tell you, a real man. I'm saying when I ball my fist up and hit a nigga in his face, you know what I'm saying? I'm a woman, and I'm almost up in my 50s, man.
Yeah.
But I was in my 40s out there. I was banging a nigga in the face. Some niggas up guys they will tell you, Aunt Jack, oh no, you better not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The trillers.
But, you know, and I looked at it like it was a joke back then. I'm not saying it to brag about it. I'm saying it where my mindset was at. Was. It's a key to that.
Yeah, right.
Today, I live a simple life, you know what I'm saying? I work. I don't bother nobody. I don't want nobody to bother me because my behaviors can come back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You come for my family, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how I am about y'all. No matter what.
100%.
No matter what. Till the breath leave out my body.
Nobody
family always is first with me. You know what I'm saying? I can't get my siblings on board to be united like my mother wanted us to be united because like I told you, I can't change nobody but me. Mm-hmm. I just got to keep praying that it will happen when it's supposed to happen. But life ain't waiting on nobody.
Nope.
I just be glad my nephews and nieces, the cousins, they call them the cousins.
Keep it tight.
Man, that brings me joy.
Yeah.
That brings me joy. You know what I'm saying? I don't even drink no more. Started smoking cigarettes 6 months ago. A lot of people dying from smoking these cigarettes, man. They sleeping on these cigarettes, man. Yeah. They sleeping on them.
And the higher they cost, they still won't cop.
Man, there's something else in them cigarettes other than the
nicotine.
Not only the nicotine.
Menthol.
No, it's something other additives in it, but they putting something more in them now. Mm-hmm. But see, the focus is on a lot of other things right now, so the cigarette company getting away with it. Yeah. Because it has never been that hard for me to stop smoking cigarettes. I had a patch on, taking Chantix, eating the lozenges, all that. Was sick from smoking, but couldn't stop. Right. It was never easy. I couldn't quit. When we won our first Super Bowl, I bet Chucky, and I quit. 2 weeks, I quit. Patch, quit. But things change out here. That's the change. The cigarettes even change.
They like $20 now, right?
No, but in New York they like 16. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
And as a young girl going back and forth to New York, they started me and my sister Tony, every New Year's Eve, you grow up New York.
Oh, for real?
Get up there, the whole table full of cocaine cases Don Perignon. Because, Kitty had a man that had that money.
Yeah.
Flap had that money.
Uh-huh.
This old man was the sharp man. This man weighed 3,000 gators on his feet every day. And he was 70-something years old, man.
Right.
Real cashmere coats, and that's just how he was.
Mm-hmm.
She the one taught me how to buy furs, man.
Kitty.
Taught me all different kind of furs. You go in stores in New York where you couldn't even touch a shoe there, do not touch. And she would pull out there, boy, I can buy all these. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of my attitude I got from her.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I got from her because, that's like my second mother. And her mother was like my mother's sister, Doss, the rest of the soul. Man, she was all our friends. You know what I'm saying?
Funny
that was our aunt. That was everybody's friend. I mean, I got high in her room. She said, that stinky stuff out of here. Man, I said, missing the matches. But look, she said, boy, I tell you, she loved my kids and she loved all our kids. You know what I'm saying? It was division in this family through my mother's sisters in her. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My grandfather catered more to my mother. She was a baby. But my mother catered more to them. Whereas my sister her sisters was jealous of their relationship. Yeah. So it started then. Mm-hmm. And it still affects us. It still affects us. Mm-hmm. It still affects us. But our cousins, as cousins like y'all doing, we try to, be closer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Closer than they did. And they had their relationship. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Like my Aunt Pat, she and my mother only sister living. I call her on a daily basis. Don't check up on her. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm not going to Norman. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That was her only brother. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Which I always tell my, you know what I'm saying? But my uncle, I tried to kill him for introducing my father to my mother. Because he didn't want to introduce them. And I just glad that I had a chance to have the mother and father that I had, because the experience I had, you know what I'm saying, in life is for a reason, to teach y'all what y'all don't want to do in life. Right. I did enough for y'all, you know what I'm saying? Even to your father, he showed you what you don't want to do out in them streets, you know what I'm saying? Because right now, niggas, for real, nobody got nobody back out there no more. Ain't none of that real out there no more.
Different.
None of it is real no more. Mm-hmm. What really is real, though, we killing each other on a daily basis. Yeah. We taking our own stuff out, man. Right. Oh, the white man, as they say, ain't got to do no more work.
We doing the work for
We doing all of it in a timely manner.
It's crazy. Well, we wrap it up now. For a minute, she thought an hour was gonna be too long. I told her it's gonna flow. It's gonna flow.
I'm say this: we gotta get out here and show these black men and maybe the young girls that follow how to be men again. Right. We gotta stop turning our heads at this stuff, man. Mm-hmm. These kids, man, I got this method of madness with these young boys. I could go talk to some of the little boys when I was out there in the corner that nobody could control. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get my hug. Right. Man, there's nobody messing on Jackie because, they go my aunt, this my Aunt Jackie. And it wasn't about the auntie thing, but the disrespectful thing. Mm-hmm. Like they say uncle and all that. I ain't play none of that shit there. Yeah. They respected me because I gave my hug and listened to them talk. All they wanted somebody to love them.
That's what a lot of them only want.
Man, these little boys out here doing the Swedes, man, beating up people and all that, thinking that's cool what they doing, man. You know what I'm saying? So somebody pop off and pop. You know what I'm saying? The wrong person. Right. All this, the wrong person. Then he was a good kid. He ain't bothering no my fault. He was trying to get somebody to eat. That's bullshit. Mm-hmm. We got to make them get accountable for their actions, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Somebody broke in my car, man. I just moved back in the city, man. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks ago. Guess what? They took some rat traps off the porch that was new. The rat food wasn't even in it. They put them in the back of my floor in my car. Mm-hmm. Took them off my porch. I said, it was a girl, man. Right. Because I left my door, that's on me, though. Left my door now, my son did. But this to tell you how bad it is. Girls breaking in cars and shit, man.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
Yeah, man. We living in our real society.
Well, in closing, we gonna wrap up on closing. If I never told you before, I definitely salute you, love you, and tip my hat off to, because I've seen it from since I've been born. I seen all of it.
And moving forward.
And like I said, if you never told nobody, you would never know your story, because you changed the working, all of that. You came a very long way, and I salute it 100%.
I work positively just as hard as I work negative. I always
Yep.
say that. The work I put in out there, I can put that twice as
Yep.
amount
You
of
changed
work
that
out.
energy. You changed it to.
I want to show my kids, no matter what, don't let nothing hold you down.
Right.
Keep getting up. Brush yourself off. Bam.
Right.
Keep getting up. My daughter asked me, Ma, how you keep doing it?
Yeah.
I said, guess what? I get up and believe in myself.
Right. Right.
You got to believe in yourself, man.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I asked you to be on here, because you got a hell of a testimony. And just like
And
the
I
other
have a problem with telling
episodes,
people about it, you know what I'm saying?
in all the episodes that people share their testimony, somebody hit me about it and said, more than one that hit me about every episode and said that they had some kind of connection or they felt something from everyone. I know this one going to do the same
We
or
all
even
might have
more.
the similar stories, but we have a lot of relatable stories, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing exactly the same, but
Right.
we can always compare. We're more alike than different, put it like that.
Right.
We're more alike than different in this society.
Right.
And we can put on, dress it all up on the outside, but the dirtiest shit in the inside.
Right.
And until we clean them insides up, man, and show our future something different, it's going to keep evolving.
Exactly.
It's time to break that chain, man. All that stuff they used to say back then on the side, breaking the chain and, you know, all that. It was for a reason. We didn't know at the time, but now I know. I would say me, because only you talk for me, I didn't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how the serenity prayer played a part in my life, but now I know.
Yeah. You
Knowledge
broke
is power.
that down. You definitely broke that
Yeah,
down.
man.
And like I always say in every episode, you must teach what is taught. So the
That's
next
right.
person will have to go through it.
Man, shoot. And I know ain't the word. I know. You don't know shit. My best thinking got me where the fuck I was at.
Right.
So I stayed out my way. That's how I got
So
better.
you needed somebody to
I
give you
stayed
that.
out my way.
Yeah.
I got out my way. I was in my own way.
Yeah.
Because my best thinking got me, down the cut.
And once
shit
you
like
finish,
that.
you just...
Yeah, so I started opening my mind up and taking suggestions like, is there a different way to do this?
Mhm.
Or watching people that was doing it different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I amazed myself.
Right.
You know?
All right, so in closing, this episode 43 or 44.